happiest chickens to live on Farmer McDonald's farm, and certainly the best cook ever. She was a widowed hen with chicks who took in boarders to help make ends meet. Her story begins in early spring many years ago. Here come her contented boarders now, Portly Pig, Dudley Duck, and Carlisle the Cats. And Portly said, "Oh,
this is the life." So true, Courtney.
Carlisle said, "We are Marie.
We are
Three?"
three clever animals.
And the others agreed. But look, here comes Mrs. Mouse and her two little baby mice. And Mrs. Mouse took one look at those boarders and she'd say,
I'd say three lazy animals.
"That's right." And Teeny and Tiny Mouse looked out at the audience and they said, "Matilda."
Matilda does all the work.
Now, before the boarders could say one word, the aroma filled the air, and Portly said,
I smell apple tartlets, seed cakes fried in butter,
and,
yeah,
catnip tea.
Catnip tea with fresh honey.
Tiny said, "Squeak."
Squeak, I'm hungry, Mama.
"I'm hungry too, Squeak." Then out came Matilda with her two little chicks. And Matilda said,
Good morning, cluck cluck. Good morning, mousies.
and the mice said, "Good morning, Matilda."
Good morning, Matilda.
And the chicks looked back at them, Danny, and they said, "Good morning, mice."
Good morning, mice.
And all the little chicks and the mice went over to take a look inside of the well. Well, the mothers love talking about their offspring, so their young ones went to look at the well, and they stayed center stage to talk together. And Mrs. Mouse says, It seems
like only yesterday.
Mine?"
Mine will pinch and helpless.
And Matilda said, "And I?"
And I can remember when my first little eye catched.
And Mrs. Mouse said, "Those three boarders."
Those three borders have grown too. Yes, they have grown out.
As the two mothers chuckled at the boarders, Pete, that's Danny, hollered out, "Mama, Mama, come quick!"
Mama, come quick.
And Chicklet yelled from behind the well, "Help!"
Help, I fell down the well.
And Teeny turned around, that's Vivian, and said, "Squeak, squeak! Chicklet is drowning!" And Tiny said, Somebody
do something quick."
And Matilda and Mrs. Mouse ran back, and Matilda looked at Dudley and said,
Dudley, help! Chicklet has fallen in the well. Help him. Why me?
And Danny looked over Peep and said, "You can swim, you're a duck."
You can swim, you're a dog.
And Chicklet cried out from behind the well, "Help!
Help!
Help!"
Help!
And Matilda went and got the rope ready, while Portly looked out and said, "Help them!"
Help them, Dudley.
Carlisle said, "Oh,
Please do. I need my cat nap.
meow."
Meow. I'm allergic to catchy wheels.
And Dudley said, "But I'll get all wet."
So get all wet.
Now the three boarders began to argue with one another and complaining, but Matilda dropped one end of a long piece of rope into the well, and Peep and the neighbors lined up, and they took hold of the cord, and Matilda called out to them,
Everyone pull.
and they leaned forward and said, "Ho!
Ho!
Heave! Ho!" And out popped Chicklet, and she said, "Mama."
Mama, you saved my life.
And Danny Peep said, "You are the best hen on the farm."
Yeah, here's my son on the phone.
And even the lazy boarders jumped up and applauded Matilda. Hooray!
Hooray!
And Matilda looked out and said, "Oh,
was just an old shoe I found and stuck in my pocket.
Mrs. Mouse said,
I was just glad we were here to help.
and Matilda said, you must.
You must stay and have breakfast with us.
Oh, and Tiny got really excited, Anisha, and said, can we, Mama?
Can we, Mom?
And Vivian said, please say yes, Mama. However, the three boarders were not sure they wanted breakfast guests.
Wait a minute! Where are the boarders here? Will there be enough food for us? Have you three ever left my table hungry? No, let's eat!
And that's just where they went, all off to Matilda's house to have some food. Now, the days grew longer and the earth began to warm up. Before long, the time for planting had arrived. Out came Matilda with her little chicks, ready to plant.
I'm ready to plant, but where are my planters? I love this plant.
Here.
Here we are, Mama.
And Peep said, all ready to help.
Oh, like the house.
Worms beware.
Worms beware.
Behind the chicken family came the three boarders who were trying to look sick. Now, Matilda said, oh good.
Oh, good. We're all here now. My stomach hurts. I'm a bad cough.
And then Peep, Danny, looked over and said, well, Carlisle can help.
Help.
Carlisle stood up and said, achoo!
Achoo! My allergies are acting up again. I'm allergic to cats, you know. But you are a cat. Yes. It's quite tragic.
Oh. And Mrs. Mouse came out with her little mice and said, we will help.
We will help.
And they all came forward and they got ready to sing.
Who will plant this wheat? Not I, oink the pig. Not I, quack the dog. Not I, Prip the cat. Meow. We will then.
And we did, and we did, and we did. And thus the pattern was set. Matilda went off with her chicks to her house, and the mouse family went off to their home. But they helped more and
went off to
more.
their place.
That's correct. And the sun grew hotter and the days grew longer. The poor boarders could barely drag themselves to the table for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Down here.
But somehow they managed it. Portly said, that chicken.
That chicken sure can cook. And clean. And clean. My bed is so sweet and soft, I don't want to leave it.
Meow.
Meow.
It's
fine
life we have.
life we have here. Meow.
And Matilda came out with her little chicks. And out came the mice. And Matilda said, ah, here are the mice.
Ah, here are the mice.
Oh, and then they said, good morning, all, the mice said.
Good morning, all.
Matilda said, we have a busy day ahead of us.
We all have a busy day ahead of us.
And Pete looked out and said, every day is busy, Mama. Danny, every day is busy, Mama.
I'm just busy, Mama.
And they all looked at the boarders, and Chicklet said, we need...
We need more help.
That's right. They all crossed their arms and looked over to the boarders who were sitting there and doing nothing, not helping. Matilda had planted the wheat, tended the wheat, picked the wheat, taken to the mill, and fetched the flour from the mill. They had one more chance. Matilda and all the others came forward, and she said, today
we will bake the bread. Who will make the bread? Not I, oink the
they mixed the dough and kneaded the dough, and off they went to their house, and the mice went to their house, and the boarders to their place. And they let the dough rise and put it in the oven. Soon, a wonderful aroma began to fill the barnyard. Portly stood up and sniffed.
What a delightful smell. I most certainly agree.
Where is it coming from?
Where is it coming from?
And Carlisle stood up and said, it's coming from Matilda's kitchen.
It's coming from Matilda's kitchen.
And all the boarders looked at each other and said, and out came Matilda with her little chicks. And she said,
Here's the perfect place for our picnic.
and out came Mrs. Mouse with a blackberry pie, saying, here.
Here's the blackberry pie.
And Teeny and Tiny said, and the raisin cinnamon rolls.
And the raisin cinnamon rolls.
And they all got ready to sing, and Peep and Chicklet said, and the warm bread and sweet butter.
And the warm and sweet butter.
Good.
Who will eat this bread? I will oink the pig. I will quack the duck.
Will purred the cat.
No, you won't. We made it. We'll eat it.
Yes, we will, yes, we will, yes, we will. But Portly was upset, and he said,
This is outrageous.
and Dudley stood up and said, we.
We agreed you would keep us.
And then up stood Carlisle, said, for what?
For a 1 whole year.
And Matilda said, that year.
That year is up today.
And
The mice are moving into your rooms.
And the boarders looked at each other outraged and said, where?
Where will we stay?
Mrs. Mouse said,
You can have our own house.
the boarders looked at each other and they said,
What will we eat?
and Teeny and Tiny grabbed some seeds and handed them to the boarders, and they handed them the sack of flour.
No.
And the 3 boarders looked at the delicious picnic, and they looked at another, and then they left with their seeds and flour, and they left the best place they had ever lived. Now, all the chicks and mice said goodbye.
Goodbye.
Boarders.
Goodbye. Bye.
And there you have it, the story of the Little Red Hen. As you can see, there's a lesson to be learned from this story, but we'll leave you to figure that one out for yourselves. And everybody got up from their picnic and got ready to sing.
Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm he had some friends, E-I-E-I-O. With a cluck cluck here and a squeak squeak there, here and there quack, everywhere meow. Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
They took hands, and they put them up in the air, and they all bowed. And they motioned to the piano. And they took one more big bow. Another bow, another bow. And they got ready for a picture. So I have all you guys kneel down, kneel down, kneel down. And you guys stand behind.